faithful Niner Empire. What's good? Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. It has been a hot minute, but the Straight Out of the Bay crew is back. Great to be on. Great to be on tonight. Obviously, it's NFL free agent frenzy. A lot of signings, a lot of money going around. If you're not if you're not being signed by the Niners, that's for sure. A lot of money is going around. But let's bring on the rest of the Straight Out of the Bay crew. Let's see. We got Celts Chronicles. What's good? How you doing tonight, man?
Man, I am doing well. It is good to be back. Talk some football, chill with the fellas. Well, right now it's just you, Jay, and the Bay. But hey, man, we are here and yeah, man, ready to chop it up and yeah, see what's up.
Absolutely. We got Amin the Dream. What's good? How you doing, man?
Man, Jay, I'm not even gonna lie. I thought it was gonna be me and you tonight, and then you said we got the rest of the Straight Out the Bay crew, and I'm like, who we got up in here?
Three fourths.
Yeah, and Kels popped back up in here. Let's go. It's about to be a good night.
Absolutely. And Eric, hopefully he could come through, but it was kind of a short notice that we were going to have this stream. I was thinking about it as I was listening to other YouTubers today. Like I forgot. I don't know about you guys, but I forgot. There was, free agency Tuesday, all the deals going around, money being thrown left and right. Guys are getting paid a hell of a lot of money. And hey, happy for the guys, happy for the players. You earn all the money you get, especially from the NFL, multiple billion-dollar industry, whatever. They're making hand over fist. The owners are, so the players should too. But some guys got some contracts that I was kind of surprised at, and we'll definitely get into that tonight. But hey, man, hopefully everyone's doing well out there. Feel free to leave thoughts in the comment section. We're going to talk about we're going to talk about the 49ers, of course, in free agency, and then talk about some big deals. But anything, Celts, I'm sure Amin going to pop back in. Did you want to touch on the Niners first and their inactivity in free agency, or did you want to talk about whatever's on your mind? What names that you saw that got signed or traded, or what's the first thing that's on your mind tonight for NFL free agency?
Well, it's like I knew they, anyone who follows the 49ers should have expected majority of this. I was one of the faithful and hopeful trying to hold on to Dre Greenlaw, so that's the biggest loss for me. But hey, it was all out there. Yeah. We should have all seen this coming, and it's kind of like it's just on paper right now. I feel like a lot of the names that we did have, it's kind of run its course. You hear a lot of people, juice this or Debo that, and it's kind of there was a lot of buddy, and it needed to be broken up, in my opinion. The 49ers feel the same way, whether it's buddy or contracts, whatever the case may be. And I remember I was really harping, on some of our last shows, just the fresh air. And, that they got it loud and clear. And that's exactly what they're doing. 49er fans, I wouldn't get too hyped, too high or too low as far as what's on paper and the losses versus who's going to replace. I don't want to give away too much of what I feel is going to happen yet, but so I'll stop there and let Amin take a rip at it. Yeah, man.
What was the question, Jay? My bad.
No worries. So I was just, open-ended question. What are your thoughts on the opening night of free agency? And that could be general NFL, or that could be the 49ers activity in free agency. Are you surprised at all, or what's something that really stands out to you tonight about free agency? It could be with the Niners or just the NFL in general.
Ooh, NFL free agency in general is always fun. But like, especially looking at the Niners, when you look at the Niners, like the Niners lost Debo, the Niners lost Greenlaw today, they lost Hufanga today. Mm-hmm. And like, if there's any indication of what the season's gonna be like, obviously we still have the draft, coming up in a month. But it looks like the Niners are rebuilding a little bit, Jay. I mean, like, I think I saw a tweet earlier today. There's only 4 or 5 people from our Super Bowl roster, starters from our Super Bowl roster that are still on the team. We let go of Kyle Juszczyk. The Rams, obviously in the NFC West, they look like they're going all in. One last run with Matthew Stafford trying to get another Super Bowl. And then you look at a team like the Seahawks, who signed Sam Darnold to a 3-year, $100 million contract, traded Geno, and got Sam Darnold. But
Is that an upgrade? I was arguing with my uncle earlier today. I was saying I think that's an upgrade over Geno. I mean, Geno had 6 years in Seattle. I think he started 3 or 4 seasons, only 1 playoff appearance, no victory. Sam had a hell of a year last year. Obviously, you know, Sam proved to be Sam, the one we all know in the playoffs. But I think they got what they could get from Geno, and they were looking to move on to someone younger. I think he might be a slight upgrade over Geno. But
I think it was a smart move only because I think both Geno and Sam Darnold, in terms of like in big games, they really don't show up, whether it be playoffs or whether it be against a playoff team. I feel like both Geno and Darnold don't show up, but I'd much rather have Sam Darnold, who's younger, at a $300 million contract than pay Geno $45 million per year at his age.
yeah.
So in terms of that, I think it was smart for Seattle. To go.
That's what Geno wanted. Is that what he wanted? Do you know?
Geno. The reason why they traded Geno is because he wanted like $45 million per year. And I'm like, wow. Yeah, dude. And Seattle was like, we good, bro. We good. Like,
yeah, it'd be interesting to see if the Raiders, re-sign Geno before the season starts to like a 1 or 2 year extension, or if they let Geno play out. I would be surprised if they let Geno or Geno's representation will allow him to play out this year. You would think they would want long-term stability, at least another 2 or 3 years with the Raiders. But it'd be interesting to see, what happens. But I kind of agree with you about the Niners. It looks like the Niners are rebuilding, and it's weird because we're going to sign Brock to a massive contract extension, probably anywhere between 3 to 6 years, somewhere between that. But typically, if you sign a franchise quarterback, usually you're not rebuilding. Usually that's the case. Yeah. But real quick, the Niners have lost, and me and you had mentioned it earlier, but Greenlaw, Banks, Jalen Moore, Elijah Mitchell, Malik Collins, Josh Dobbs, Hufanga, Debo, Mooney Ward, Kyle Juszczyk, and Javon Hargrave. So a lot of guys who won't be on the team. We didn't even really react to Debo getting traded. Let's talk about that real quick. Kelts, what was your thoughts on Debo Samuel getting traded? Were you for the trade, or do you think you wish he would have still been a Niner this upcoming season?
Nah, it needed to be done. I don't want to say too much because it's like, part of me loved Debo. And then part of me said, man, only if Debo would have been running up those hills like Jerry Rice, maybe he could have been one of the all-time greats. I feel kind of like Pablo Sandoval on the SF Giants in baseball. It's like there was a little feeling of that. Like, you got to monitor, is he working out enough, this and that. It's like, hey, you're getting paid millions, man. Let's go to work and stay to work. Right. I get it. There's life, there's family, but it is what it is. Good luck to Debo. He was a warrior over here, but I didn't like, the boombox started getting old. Just a lot of it started feeling scripted. Hey, I'm all for having fun, but it's like when you're losing, put it away. When you didn't win the Super Bowl, don't act like you're walking around like you won the Super Bowl and we've been the best for 5 years. Like, those things really did irk me and frustrate me, and it is what it is. But hopefully he has a fresh start. Hopefully he learns some things, and Kyle learns some things, and the buddy Cabo click, like, all those things are gone. The fresh air is here. I got all the faith in the world, man, that they believe in Mustafa. They believe in Green. They believe in winners. They believe in Cowing, which I think, watch out what Cowing could do. He caught a deep pass and didn't see another ball. It was like, what? Like, the deep pass he caught, he was, yards away from the defender and had to come back to it. So it feels like they got a lot of trust in the young pieces. They're going young. We wanted them to go young. We wanted some of these guys. I'm one of the guys who wanted a reboot. it feels like Kittle's buddy is Juszczyk. Now Kittle will probably be a little more focused and not comfortable. And the same goes for Ayuk. It's almost like every friend group got broke up. And I think it's going to bring fire. I think it's going to bring hunger. It's going to bring focus that anybody can, be gone at any time. And you know how it is with young players, and not just young players, but young rookies in any profession. When you go to a profession and you're on fire and it's a new job, man, you got your new suit, you got your new badge, your new pin, your new uniform, whatever it is, and you're ready to roll. You're hungry. You want to impress, but you get a little lackadaisical and comfortable, and we start seeing the more drama and more rah-rah stuff and less football and less focus. So, yeah, man, thank you, Debo, and I'm glad that you're gone.
Hey, what you think of the Dream? What you think about Debo, man? You wish he would have retired as a Niner, or you was ready to say, hey, get gone, Debo?
I mean, Kelch pretty much summed that up perfectly, but I mean, what I would add to that is I think the Niners, in a sense, even I still do think that the Niners have a little bit of a culture problem, even stemming from Kyle Shanahan down to some of the players, and one of those players was Deebo Samuel, like Kelch mentioned with the boombox and him going on podcasts and talking about like how the Niners are the best team in the league as if they've won Super Bowls. And it's like, nah, dude, we haven't won crap. And in terms of, obviously we saw the whole Jake Moody situation and things like that, but the level of production from Deebo compared to what he was doing kind of off the field, definitely I felt like it was time for us to move off from Deebo, and I'm actually glad we moved off from Deebo. But at the same time, while I do say that, if there's one thing that I, at least personally, I've noticed, and I don't know if you guys have seen this, but especially with the absence of Christian McCaffrey last year, like I remember Deebo at the end of the season was like, near the end of the season, he's like, I need more targets. I didn't get enough targets. But I feel like when Kyle doesn't have Christian McCaffrey, he relies on Deebo Samuel a lot, and his offensive game plan kind of still relies on Deebo to do certain things. And if he doesn't have Deebo Samuel, I'm curious to see in a game next season, if Christian McCaffrey isn't able to go, how Kyle will adapt without having his second kind of his safety blanket in Deebo Samuel. So I want to see if Kyle can actually adapt and learn to, run his offense without Deebo, because I felt like last year, especially when we didn't have Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Mason was banged up. I felt like the game plan relied heavily on Deebo Samuel, which he wasn't in shape last year, I felt like, and he wasn't the same Deebo Samuel. So I'm curious to see if Kyle will adapt, but happy for Deebo. Go kill it with the Commanders, and obviously grateful for what Deebo's done with this Niners team, but I think it was time to move on.
Hey, man, well said by both of you gentlemen. Deebo had some great moments with the Niners. Definitely, since I've been watching the Niners or rooting for the Niners, one of the toughest guys. He had the highs of highs, Deebo did, but he definitely had some lows. And he rubbed some fans the wrong way, including me, just with the offseason antics. The fodder with, oh, we're the best team in the NFL, yada, yada, yada. I think that the ship had sailed and it was time to cut the cord. And, hey, I wish Deebo the best in D.C. My friend is a Commanders fan. I don't understand why the Commanders would trade for him. I guess the saying is true. It's not always about what you know, it's who you know. And clearly Adam Peters being a GM with the Commanders, there's a reason why they picked up Javon Kinlaw with the ridiculous contract. He's getting $15 million per. Happy for Kinlaw. Hey, he struck gold. I just don't see the production there that warrants that. But a lot of guys were getting paid a lot of money. But Deebo goes to a good situation with DC. They got an up-and-coming quarterback, Jaden Daniels. They have weapons. Hey, I wish the best for him. Hopefully, he has a productive year, but I think his best years are behind him. But he had some great moments with the Niners. And, he was one of the better draft picks that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan had. There's no question about that. And, he performed most of the time, but there were some moments where he was lackluster.
Jay, Jay, can we talk about Adam Peters for a little bit? Because
Oh yeah.
what he's done in Washington in that first year, from taking a team that was, I think, bottom of the division to taking them to the NFC Championship game, drafting Jaden Daniels, a franchise quarterback, and even like today, traded for Debo, traded for Lermy Tunsil. Like, I don't know if Adam Peters has a different philosophy than y'all, Kyle, but like, you have a franchise quarterback, and you're trying to protect your franchise quarterback by investing in the offensive line, a couple of draft picks.
Well, he did do that. They traded for the big silver back, Trent Williams. So Larry Thompson, they play the same position.
Yeah, they traded for Trent Williams. But the rest of the offensive line is straight up doo-doo besides Pooney.
Yeah.
Like, the rest of the offensive line, and like, even when I look at what Chicago's doing right now, Chicago understands that we have Caleb Williams, a young, talented quarterback. He got sacked a lot. And their first priority this entire offseason, they signed Drew Dahlman. They traded for Joe Thuney. Like, they're investing in that offensive line because they understand. And Ben Johnson, coming from Detroit, understands how important of a position that is. Regardless of whether you're rebuilding or not, one position that needs to be fixed is the 49ers offensive line, especially if you're going to pay Brock Purdy 55, 50, whatever the number might be. If you're paying Brock Purdy like a franchise quarterback, you have to protect that franchise quarterback. And right now, the offensive line, even Trent, like, Trent's getting older. Like, I'm not guaranteeing you, and I don't even think Trent will stay healthy 100% next year with his age. So, like, Trent can't be the only thing that the Niners look at and be like, we still have Trent Williams. We're good. Like, nah, Trent Williams is getting older. Yeah. I don't know how his body will hold up, even though he's coming back next year. Like, we gotta address that, and I feel like other teams take that more seriously than the Niners. And if you're paying Brock Purdy, I feel like we should invest in an offensive line in order to protect Brock Purdy.
No, real talk. I agree with you. But first, I gotta say what's good to everyone that's in the chat right now. We have Steve-O in the building. Bay Area Throwbacks, the Under the Helmet podcast. David McNiner. B. Bob Jones, Bay Area Throwbacks. What's good? Appreciate you guys tuning in to the stream tonight. Hey, I agree with you, Mean the Dream, but Kyle has said, and even the offensive line coach has said that, hey, they want to do more with less along the offensive line. The offensive line coach, Chris Forrester, he even said, hey, we don't need no high draft picks. I can get these guys in here, I get them to buy into the scheme, and I can coach them up. That's even what the offensive line coach has said. So Kyle believes that. I feel like he doesn't want to, I'm not going to say waste, but he doesn't want to use that capital on offensive line. I agree we should, but reality is, they have Trent, McGlinchey, Banks. They have done that. It hasn't. Pooney, the only one I guess that's really worked is Pooney so far. Banks was good, his first year or two, but he kind of fell off. But they have invested, but it's not enough. I get that, but I don't see them doing that this offseason. We'll see. What were you gonna say, Coach?
I was gonna touch on Washington real quick, and I think they also brought in Magic Johnson, because I remember putting a tweet out as soon as I seen Peters and Johnson. I was like, watch out for Washington. Maybe I could dig that tweet up, but it was just like, hey, they're gonna turn around real quick and way quicker than people think, and it happened. But that's what happens when you get winners, when you get proven just and it's not just winning, is it? Or how do I really break this down? I don't know. I feel like there's a different
mentality. I guess their mentality.
There's something special about Magic Johnson. I don't know too much about Adam Peters, the person, but just when it comes to Magic Johnson, like, he's probably going to win.
It's in the name, Kels. It's in the name. Magic Johnson is in the name.
I mean, too bad he let that go a little too far, but at certain times. But God bless Magic. He's doing well. Yeah, and then I also wanted to talk about what was the thing about the Niners? Yeah, so good job to the Washington Commanders, but the
O-line,
the trenches. You got me thinking about, outside of Nick Bosa, and Pooney, who have they drafted in the entire trenches?
You said outside of Pooney, McGlinchey, Banks,
Jalen Moore.
Oh, no,
Jalen
oh,
Moore.
no,
Jalen
that's
Moore.
not what I'm saying. That's still here.
Oh.
That's still here with
that's
us.
still
That's
here,
still, where is the foundational pieces in the entire trenches from the whole time they've been
They
here? I
haven't
mean,
panned out. The guys that
they
they've drafted
haven't.
on the offensive line, they haven't panned out. They haven't been rewarded.
And
But let's be
even
real.
and
They're
even
not
the
going to.
defensive line, real quick, even the defensive line, right? So when Kyle gets here, there's already Armstead and Buckner, right? And then I think Ronald Blair. All right, so you add a Bosa, you get a D Ford, but they drafted that one Bosa. So it's like that was the monster of our D line, and half of it wasn't even created by Kyle or John or the one guy they brought in that they evaluated and drafted was Bosa. And D Ford didn't last long as well. But, and they brought nice pieces, Amenahue. But then where does Amenahue go? He didn't win the Super Bowl with us. He went to the Chiefs and won, Ebicom was good for a moment. Hey, he's gone to, it's like we've had all these little stopgap pieces, but where's the guy that's going to stick and produce and stay healthy? Where is like Amin alludes to, the consistency, especially in the trenches? They were like, hey, our defensive line is our bread and butter. That's our strength. But y'all didn't even build half of it when it was at its best. So I'm kind of, they got to hit. They did a phenomenal job in the draft last year. They're trusting in these guys, but they got to hit in the trenches this year. It's like,
I was just going to say the Niners, they're not going to reward a offensive lineman. They're not going to sign a drafted offensive lineman to a contract extension. I'm trying to think who was the last 49ers offensive lineman that got big money. We let McGlinchey go. Banks is gone.
I remember we
Jalen
let
Moore's
Tomlinson go.
Who was it? Richburg?
And Tomlinson wasn't. I'm saying who we drafted, we scouted, we drafted. I don't think you can say anything in the Shanahan era. They're not going to do that. They're not going to spend big money.
But Jay, respectfully, right? If you're looking at the way that the Niners build their team, in terms of having, like, we compare Brock Purdy to quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts, like Dak Prescott. I wouldn't consider Brock Purdy even close on the level of a Josh Allen or Mahomes or a Lamar. But if you're looking at even like the Eagles, what was the Eagles' blueprint? If you want to build a team like that, where you have a Christian McCaffrey, the Eagles have Saquon Barkley, you have, I don't even know who they have a receiver besides Ayuk right now, and Ricky Pearsall. But like, you look at how the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Jennings, right? But you look at how the Eagles won the Super Bowl, they had like 3 or 4 Pro Bowlers on that offensive line. If you want to win a Super Bowl with the way that the Niners have constructed their team, you have to prioritize the offensive line. And I get it if you can't go out and sign, like, even today, I wasn't upset that we couldn't go out and get Drew Dahlman. That's a little bit too rich for the Niners' pockets right now. That's fine. Ryan Kelly, who's a Pro Bowl center, got signed for like a 2-year, $18 million contract. You're telling me that you can't do that if you're the Niners, compared to giving freaking, who's the tight end that we signed today for 3 years, $20 million, tight end number 2?
How dare you not know his name? Luke Farrell, man. The steal of free agency, man.
I don't give no damn about no Luke Farrell. You could draft the tight end number 2.
He's a blocking savant. Haven't you heard? They don't use him in the passing game, but he's going to be a major blocker for this 49ers offense. It's going to allow Kittle to have over 100 catches a game. And
then Kittle gets hurt.
I can see it now, man. I can see it now.
The new juice. That's the new juice right there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the dream, you are preaching to the choir. The Niners need to take the blueprint of the Eagles, of the Lions, and build through the trenches. They build on the trenches, but the wrong side. They still want to go to the defensive line. They've done it over and over again. They're not going to invest big money or high draft capital in the offensive line, or they might do it, but they're not going to keep those guys. They're not. There's no way they're going to pay Aaron Banks 4 years, $77 million that he got from the Packers. Happy that Banks got his money, but the Niners, they're just not going to pay offensive linemen like that. They paid Trent. Okay, he wasn't drafted. They paid Weston Richburg, wasn't drafted. So they did it twice, okay, out of the Shanahan tenure, where they'll pay a offensive lineman big money. Outside of that, they're just not going to do that. His strategy is win more with less along the offensive line, and that's just his philosophy. Do I agree with it? No, but I think at this point it's just beating a dead horse. They're not gonna. They're just not, man. They're gonna
Jay,
roll out Brindle. They're gonna roll out Colton McKivitz, and until I see otherwise, that's what they're gonna do, man. Like,
Jay, that's the problem, right? Like,
yes,
that's the problem is if you have a specific strategy that you want to roll with into the game or into a season, that's fine. But if it doesn't work once, you might want to change the strategy. If it doesn't work twice, which you lost twice in the Super Bowl, like if it doesn't work twice against the same exact team, like eventually you got to realize, like, you know what? We might need to change our philosophy. And even looking at the Eagles and Vic Fangio didn't blitz Mahomes, and their defensive line didn't have no Nick Bosa type level player on that defensive line. They had a couple of drafted guys in Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, Milton Williams, who got a bag this morning. But like that defensive line wasn't stacked with nobody like a Nick Bosa or a D Ford or DeForest Buckner. That defensive line had guys that were serviceable, and their offensive line, which had like 3 or 4 Pro Bowlers, that's what helped them win that Super Bowl with their running game and helped them protect Jalen Hurts. So no disrespect to Kyle and John, but if you have a specific strategy or philosophy with doing less with more, it hasn't worked. So at a certain point, if you're going to continue doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, that's insanity.
And Kyle, just real quick, Kyle would say it has worked because they've been the second best team in the NFL since he's taken over. So Kyle would say it has worked. Jed rewarded Kyle by giving him a contract extension before he won a Super Bowl. So, hey, Kyle's a made man in Jed's eyes.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. I mean, hey, they've been a really good team for a long time. They've handed out a lot of money, you know. As soon as Dr. York showed up last year, it's like, you know, the writing was on the wall last year. Once certain stuff fell apart, I mean, it's like, I mean, you just knew it was going to kind of roll this way, and we're here. But I do want to say that I think who was the guy last year that did come in for, I believe, Aaron Banks a couple of times last year? Was it Barch or
Ben Barch? I think the Niners re-signed him.
Because someone came in and it's like, okay, we know his name and stuff, and he's you know he's kind of done all right, but
he was solid.
He's looking really. I'll just like vaguely remember. It's like, hey, he's looking really, really good, kind of, you know. So it's like I feel like they trust a lot of what they have, but the one thing about the less and more, I feel like some of the less is more. Like I love that analogy, like I do, because I believe in that with certain things, but some things I think it is used for laziness. Some things I think it all right, it's like, hey, well, if Shanahan is in this this package, you could get 20 looks out of this one look. It's like, so what? You're going to just get comfortable and just keep running this one look. You're going to just get comfortable and keep running the clock to 0, and it becomes predictable. Even if he thinks he's still fooling folks, it's like you might fool someone once in every 5 plays, but it's like you're kind of almost, I feel like, falling on your own sword. You know, that's the way I look at it, and everything has gotten complacent. I think it's going to revamp Kyle to have a lot of new faces, to have, well, maybe not a lot of new faces on offense, but just like, you know, when you break up the buddy group, you know, there's something freeing about that as far as, you know, when it comes to work, you know, it's like you need to take the, you know, family out of business and vice versa. And there needs to be a common direction for all 53, not just a certain group or not, you know, there needs to be, hopefully, like Amin said, we see the flexibility and the adapting with the young players as far as like where they are at. Okay, if Coween isn't ready, you should be the genius enough to get him at least somewhat ready for a 5-play package. We've been saying this for a couple of years. Like, utilize all 53, man. Put together little packages. Get out of your little 20-play, it's unstoppable, they'll never figure me out ways, and multiply on that. Add stuff to your toolbox, man. Like, yeah, man.
No, I feel you. I think Kyle, his ways have, he's been very successful. Clearly, for the fan base, it's not good enough. We want to see change. But I mean, when you get rewarded for something, you're going to keep doing what got you rewarded, and that's what Kyle's doing. I would love to see them invest in offensive line, but where's the money going to come from? Brock's getting a huge bag this offseason, so how much money can the Niners really spend? I think they're going to have a lot of draft picks, and they're going to have a lot of their draft picks hit. This offseason. You mentioned real quick the Commanders, and they got Adam Peters. They made a lot of signings today. Made a trade for Laramie Tunsil. I think their situation is a little bit different than the Niners because they have a rookie quarterback. And then when we had our rookie quarterback, our team was basically set. When Purdy took the helm, our team was basically set. We already had the high price free agents. And with the Commanders, they are assembling their team. And Jaden Daniels is on a rookie contract. So I think it's a little bit different, but if you're a Commanders fan, I'm sure you're excited about, what Adam Peters is doing. So they added some talent, and hey, Adam Peters is doing his job, so you can't be mad at that.
Can I ask you a question, Jay?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've heard this. People Niner content creators been asking this question, especially after the Super Bowl, and I haven't done a show in a hot minute, but I've been dying to know, this was a topic after the Super Bowl, but who do y'all think is the better coach between Sirianni and Kyle Shanahan? Because Sirianni got his ring. Do y'all still think that Sirianni isn't as good of a coach as Kyle, or does the ring automatically put him higher than Kyle Shanahan?
Before he got the ring, there were already rumblings about Sirianni. Can he control his locker room? Is there dysfunction? But when you win a Super Bowl, all that kind of goes away. Did he have a good relationship with Jalen Hurts? We heard all that. Is Sirianni, does he call offensive plays? I don't think so, right? It was Kellen Moore doing that.
He lets Kellen Moore do that.
So he doesn't call defensive plays, right? Fangio was doing that. So it seems like Sirianni is the overseer of the group. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't know exactly, to be totally honest with you. I don't know what Sirianni's signature is. I don't know if he's an offensive guy, a defensive guy. Totally honest, I don't know.
He's an offensive guy.
He's an offensive guy. Okay, so you would think he contributes to what Kellen Moore is doing, or did he just give the reins to Kellen Moore? I don't know what the brother does. I have no idea what he does, but he has a Super Bowl ring on his finger now. So clearly, hey, the rings talk. So yeah, he's better.
Hey, I know from what I've seen so far. All right, so they both got their cons. They both got their cons. They're very similar in, I think, the way, fan bases might view them. First off, I would have to really know these guys. I would have to really sit down and talk to these guys to know to have an opinion who's better. But from where we're at, looking at it, I would just immediately say Sirianni's better. Not just the Super Bowl, but it's we had a chance to give Fangio. He went and got Fangio. They win the Super Bowl. It's and look at where we were with our DC, with Sorensen or Wilkes. It's been the scapegoat. But dude, Fangio was there for us. We know what's up with Fangio. I guess Kyle.
Fangio wanted to change the scheme to a 3-4.
Clearly
that worked for the Eagles.
Man,
that changed the scheme.
It sounds like Sirianni got a little bit of flexibility in him. There's a lot of stuff to hate on any one of these guys, and I know that's a strong word and all that, but it's just hey man, he got Fangio. We didn't. They got their trenches established. We don't. It's as simple as that.
They also drafted hella better.
Look at their drafts. They've been drafted.
Howie Roseman, man, freaking crazy. Yeah. Best GM in the league.
Mm-hmm. I think sometimes Lynch, because Lynch and Shanahan always go to, hey, it's a good thing when we don't see eye to eye. And it can sharpen you. It can sharpen you up when you have two different views and you come to some common ground and, oh, dang, this could be a genius move or whatever. But I think some of their disagreements really kind of wind up turning into things that don't pan out. He has this vision. They wind up going this way. And all of a sudden, Danny Gray never plays. All of a sudden, whoever the next guy is never play. Oh, Cowing wasn't ready. We seen a little bit more of it last year. Cowing wasn't ready, but John Lynch is like, oh, Cowing's got a package. He doesn't even see the field. Ronnie Bell drops balls. There's been splintering. and it's obvious. You know, hopefully it can fully, hopefully all the splinterings and all the things it can grow to where they're fully on page and have a clear direction, some breath, you know, some fresh air, and just get back on the horse and get hungry, get motivated. Robert Saleh, you know, hopefully he brings a whole, you know, different vibe back to that D, and we'll see what happens. But, you know, I want to be super optimistic, and to be honest, I really can see them being right in contention, regardless of who's on paper. And, you know, I think these youngsters are going to be good. I think they're going to draft well again. I think they're going to be right back. But at the same time, it's like, what really is back? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I don't see it. Honestly, I don't see the being back to what. I mean, if they go to the playoffs and lose in the first round, that's not good enough. I mean, honestly, that's a step. That's a step down.
I could see them always making deep playoff runs, and it wouldn't surprise me to see them fall short. Like I just don't see them going through this much drama and this much catastrophic injuries as last year. Like I don't see that repeating. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like if they didn't go through these injuries and it didn't knock Kyle off his game and all the drama and grabbing of necks or gunshots, I mean, there was I mean, I don't want to get into the heavier stuff. You know, God bless, you know, everybody who, you know, lost children last year. I mean, that was a year like no other. And I don't want to make it like it's excuses, but it is real life, you know. So that had to put I mean, you know, Trent wasn't there. I mean, you know, and y'all know me, I hate excuses, but it's not excuses. It's I don't see that happening again. The
Niners lost a lot of talent.
I don't see something like that happening in back-to-back years, just like I didn't think being hella healthy like the year before would happen again, you know, because and I already knew what was coming, and I still took CMC in fantasy draft. I still did it. It's like I think I told y'all the show before, like the one thing that could happen is CMC's gonna fall to, and then you know Tyreek Hill wasn't there. I had to pick him, but Tyreek he didn't do well either. So
didn't Kyle beat Sirianni the last time they played?
In the regular season, probably.
Wow.
I mean, Jay, realistically.
If the Eagles have a bad year, they lost talent this year. If they have a bad year, we're going to hear it again. I mean, they fired the other coach who went to a Super Bowl. I forgot his name.
Doug Peterson.
Oh yeah.
It's real quick, man. You telling me?
Philly's cutthroat, man. Philly's cutthroat. The sports fans are.
They ain't playing. Hey.
Real quick. You mentioned about Kelch. You mentioned about going to the playoffs next year. Are the Niners the worst team in the NFC West?
Hey man, it's paper season. I should start calling it like paper season. Everything is on paper, man. It's like who was the champs last year? The champs last year. Who was it? The Rams
Chiefs.
Pulled it out.
The Chiefs.
No, the NFC West.
What you mean? Who was the champs?
The NFC West. The Niners.
Yeah. We were okay. The Rams were they're the champs. You know,
and the Rams they got better. They re-signed Stafford.
The Rams are the champs. Hey, I'm looking at it like the Rams are the champs, and that's who we're saying. Hey, we got to knock them off. Like, hey, they're the previous winners. So we're looking back up at them. It's hey, Kyle, you don't own McVay no more, bro. It's like there's no owning. It's not cute no more. Like any of the little things. Hey, everybody else can have fun with it, but it's work. It's work and focus and lock in and all those things. And you know that's what it is. You know that they should feel like the worst. They should feel like, hey, we all need to prove ourselves. You know what I'm saying? It just work, man.
I just don't see how we've gotten better. I know it's only day one. We still have the rest of free agency. We still have the draft, but we lost a hell of a lot of talent. At least 10 players are gone. I think the best part about it real quick is just like we kind of seen everybody who is gone. We seen a version of those 49ers last year, you know, and some of those rookies got, you know, time under their belt. Kyle was obviously experimenting with all kind of things. I mean, Coween, like I said, he took off and then just shelved them. You know, those kind of things got to stop. No more
hiding bullets. You know, no more tucking weapons. Like, hey, you got to let all 53 go. You got to let, you know, and if you're trying to preserve or trying to do this or experiment, it's like you got to go. And I think the fire that's under Kyle, whether it's Jed York, John, however it's circling. It's so it's all or nothing. The Super Bowl is in Santa Clara next year. We might not see them go all in on paper. We might not see him go all in on paper, but watch Kyle Shanahan have one of his best coaching seasons when he has a little bit less. Like just watch.
You
that's
have
all.
faith. You have faith, Kelts.
I have no faith. I have
Jay,
no
have
faith
you
in
not?
Kyle Shanahan. I have no faith in Kyle Shanahan, but I just feel like he's that kind of guy that'll be like, oh, okay, watch this.
Jay,
I feel like he's that much of a, you know, I feel like
I just don't see it. But what were you gonna say? I mean,
Jay, you've seen Kelt's tweets after games and certain plays. Like, I'm like, what is happening on the stream right now? I'm like, optimistic. You be reading Kelt's.
You are super optimistic, Kelts. You are very. I just don't see the Niners lost so much talent. It'll be an intriguing next, couple months.
But Jay, all right, let me ask you this, Jay. What? All right. Let's just like really peel back. How do I explain this? Like, what was Debo really wasn't doing like this massive stuff for us like the past couple years?
He really hasn't been the player since 21. Let's be real.
Juice really isn't some game. It's more of a once every 2 game highlight. You know, let's really break down Hufanga. Hufanga had that real good year, and then it was just kind of, oh, damn, he's getting burnt here. He's getting burnt there. He's making some nice off-the-angle hit. Okay, so let's really think about all the players that, are going on. We started complaining about Banks. Burford and Barch were looking better than Banks. It's like everybody who was gone wasn't really doing a whole lot, and everybody that's going to fill in, just them being a little bit more hungry and on point. Just we'll see. No, you make a great point. A lot of guys had bad years last year, so now you're going to bring in new talent. But who's Brock going to throw to? That's who's going to be his number one receiver? Ayuk. He's probably going to be out till November. And even when he comes back, he had no training camp last year. He'll have no training camp this year. What do you really expect from Ayuk? Unless the Niners pick up a veteran receiver, I don't know if Keenan Allen's been signed already. I'm not sure, but bring in a veteran receiver like that to kind of solidify the receiving course, because Jennings is good, but he's, he had a great year. Can't take that away from him, but is he really going to be the number one receiver? Would you guys be satisfied if Jennings is our number one receiver this year? I feel like Ricky and Coween, and it's like, who else should I? Those two specifically, I feel like are going to give us way more than Debo and Juszczyk. And who else was getting the ball for us that isn't with us anymore? It's just I feel like I have way more belief that an actual receiver like Ricky and Coween can highly produce and be highly effective if Kyle utilizes, if he just maximizes them. The last touch that Coween got, he burnt, dude. And it's almost like Kyle's like, yeah, I'm going to tuck this away.
We're expecting Kyle to
tuck this, but I'm going to tuck this because it's a lost year. What's the point if he goes down to like those kind of things? He's always thinking a year ahead, but it's to a fault at the same time. I'm not even giving Kyle credit, honestly, but it's like, go ahead.
But Kels, who said he's not going to do that again this year? Because
there's no telling what Kyle might do. That's
the issue that I have going into next year, is that if you go into the season,
does he have a choice? Now does he have a choice?
But we got to see who they bring in. We got to see who they bring in.
The game that I will always remember, Jair Brown, as much as we want to talk about Jair Brown now, Jair Brown, I think, was it 2022? With the Green Bay Packers game, he started Logan Ryan over Jair Brown. And Jair Brown that season was actually balling. That season, Jair Brown came in and he stepped in for, I think it was Hufanga, and he was serviceable. He was playing better than Logan Ryan. And then, lo and behold, divisional round, Kyle's like, I'm going to take this young, hungry rookie out the game, and I'm going to put in Logan Ryan, who was on a cruise ship 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to let him start in the divisional round. So it's like, I don't doubt that Cowing is hungry. I don't doubt that Ricky Pearsall's not hungry. I don't doubt that there's guys that want to play and there's guys that are hungry. It's just that, yo, Kyle, will you stop being such a control freak and let these guys actually let them play? Because at this point, even if you go sign on Keenan Allen, like, I don't trust Keenan Allen to stay healthy this entire year. So eventually, later down the line, like, you're going to need Cowing to step up. You're going to need your young players to step up. But you have to give them the opportunity to step up, Kyle. And, like, I know personally as, like, a person who's played sports before, basketball, whatever, like, you know, when your coach has a level of, like, not necessarily doubt, but when he takes you out in certain situations, or he, like, you could kind of tell when your coach doesn't have that 100% confidence in you, like, that messes with your mental as a player, because, like, you want to go out and perform, but instead of you going out there and kind of, you know, showing and doing your best, you're worrying about not screwing up. And I don't want a guy like Cowing to be out there. I want Cowing to play out there and be free out there. I don't want Cowing to be out there, whoever it is, a rookie who's out there who's hungry, to be like, I can't screw up, otherwise Kyle's gonna take me out the game. Because I don't want to be, you know, be on, in the doghouse for the rest of the season. Like, Kyle, you gotta let your guys go out and play freely. And next year, especially without Debo, with Ayuk missing half the season, like, you gotta trust your guys, like, you know, freaking Pearsall and Cowing. I just hope Kyle lets them do that.
Yeah, I think he's finally going to be forced to. Like, I think it's you know, it's like, even if he brings in a Keenan Allen, at this point, I wouldn't doubt it if he treated Keenan Allen like a Mike Conley. Who knows what Kyle, like, you know.
I mean, come on, man. Keenan Allen is, I mean, one of the best receivers in the last decade. Like, come on, man. He's been super productive. He had the injury bug with the Chargers. That's why they let him go. But he played pretty well for the Bears last year.
I like Keenan Allen.
One of their best receivers.
We
need it doesn't have to necessarily be Keenan Allen, but we need an established veteran receiver. Like, we can't go into the season with Jennings, Pearsall, Cowling, and then a few rookies. Like, we need another established, because Ayuk, he's not gonna be here. Like, he's just not. Like,
Dante Pettis, your established receiver.
Or maybe a Darius Slayton or someone. Like, we need to spend some money.
Yeah, I think I've heard
a receiver.
He resigned. Darius Slayton resigned with the Giants today.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind Cooper Kupp, dude. I honestly would love Cooper Kupp. I would give Cooper Kupp. I would throw Cooper Kupp some money, honestly, for like a 2-year.
Does he still got the juice? Or I think his time is past him.
We need the big body.
Everybody's crapping.
We need a big body, a little faster Jawan. Because that's just Brock's. You know, because Brock, as far as Kupp, lost to that with someone he trusts, man.
As far as Kupp, Stafford it seemed like he didn't throw to him. Like, he was out there, but Stafford didn't believe in him anymore. He was just going to Puka. But Kenny asked, what's happening with Jordan Mason? So I believe Jordan Mason is a restricted free agent. And I believe it says, let's see, what's today? Oh, okay. So tomorrow is the deadline. It says for the Niners to decide on what to do with Jordan Mason. I think if they place a first, second, or third round tender on him, it puts him in a certain salary for next year. So I was just reading here. It says the first option for Jordan Mason is by placing a first round tender on him at $7.4 million. But I think that's kind of rich for the Niners to pay a running back that amount of money. So maybe they put a day 3 or day 2 pick on him as far as a restricted free agent tender. And I think another team has the opportunity to match that. But if I were Jordan Mason, I'd want to go to a different squad if I was him. I don't know how you guys feel. Kyle's not going to give him the opportunity unless CMC is out, for the rest of the year. I would want a more of an opportunity if I was Jordan Mason and his family. The Niners put him in, and that was good. But as soon as CMC came back, it's like he doesn't even exist. Like, the guy was leading the NFL in rushing at one point, and then he can't get no burn when CMC comes back. I would hope if I was Jordan Mason that the Niners let me go, let me sign with another team. Don't match it, because they're not going to use him. It's just point blank. They're not going to use him.
Man, what about Elijah Mitchell?
He signed with a different squad, but I mean, brother couldn't stay healthy. I mean,
Man, the first thing that I thought of when I seen Elijah Mitchell go to the Chiefs was
he gonna get healthy.
we didn't do nothing. We didn't do nothing with McKinnon, and then
he was a superstar with the Chiefs.
Not even a super. Just give him. It's like it feels like McKinnon just went over there and got like 3 touches a game, but he'd still get 2 touchdowns. He'd get
and he was healthy. He didn't miss much games.
He'd get one catch, but it would burn you on that 3rd and 19 screen pass, and that, and it really mattered to win that game. It's like he did some meaningful stuff. Like that's what man, they be running in circles, ringing around the rosy before the play is even called. Dang well, Andy Reid and Mahomes and the whole boy, they are going to get that man in the end zone. And it's going to look easy. And it's just like, it's going to be like, man, we used to have that. And now he's healthy, over there balling. But
that's usually what happens. We have players, they don't excel in our system. They go to a different team, and it's like they're like, oh, this is where you were supposed to be when you were with the Niners. But now with the Chiefs,
spread your wings. They got the fly. They just no more umbilical cord,
Yeah.
Andy Reid's like, go on the phone as long as you want. I don't care. Just make sure when you're on that field, you do what you got to do. Kyle's like, you've been on the phone. Yeah, you're gonna sit today, son. Like,
Jay, I already told you, Jay. I've been on it, but I'm done with Kyle. So like, I've been done with Kyle. Like, just. Watch it like Mitchell go out and win a Super Bowl with the Niners. Charles Omenihu did it. Like, I feel like every Niners player.
Wasn't it Dante Pettis, man? He burned us with the Bears.
He burned us. Yeah, he scored a touchdown on us, I think. Yeah, when he was with Chicago.
That was so sweet. They're waiting. They all can't wait to get
Jim Everett. Hey, real quick, Jim Everett, man, he writes the same comments, man. Come on, man. You write the same stuff in the comments. Don't that get old, man? I don't get it. I don't get it. But
is that really? Is it really Jim Everett, like the great? Like is that really his nickname?
It's a troll, man. It's a troll, man.
Now I'm wondering if Jim Everett. I'm wondering if Jim Everett was like once upon a time in '92, like they called him Jim Everett the Great. I was like that's horrible because I know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know much Rams history. So
yeah, those stats were. It was pretty ugly. Hey, so much love, man. Much love.
So do you guys think, real quick, because I asked you if the Niners were the worst team in the NFC West. So do you think the Rams are slightly better than the Niners at this point? I don't know any big moves that the Cardinals made. So what do you think? Do you think the Rams are better? I would say you probably agree with that, Kelts, right? Because they won the division last year, so we got to knock them off, as you said.
And I like their young pieces on the D line too.
Yeah,
they've drafted a few of the. I think it's a couple or a few of the guys they got. A lot of us wanted. Hey, Byron Young or this guy sitting there, and So I like their young pieces. Their running back. We'll see. We'll see, man. It's all on paper. We know. I know they're going to. I have more faith in the Rams. They're established like us. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to be duking it out. It's going to come down to injury. It's going to come down to all. It's going to come down to penalties, injuries, all the kind of uncontrollable but control. Discipline, hunger. It's going to come down to all the little stuff. And, will Kyle let them spread their wings? Is he going to be kind of curled up and frantic on the hot seat, or is he going to be like, F it, YOLO, let's go get it? So we'll see. It's on paper right now, but yeah, it's the Rams. Hey, they're the last year's champ. So until we take them off, it's them.
What say you, Amin?
Yeah, it's easily the Rams. Obviously, the Seahawks, they traded away. They got rid of Lockett. They got rid of DK. So
I think Lockett was past his prime, and
Lockett was past his prime. But getting rid of DK, obviously we could sit up here at least at this point in the offseason and say the Seattle Seahawks didn't get better. The Cardinals, they signed Josh Sweat to a 4-year, $70 million contract. What the hell? Yeah, but Cardinals, not really worried about them. I would say it's the Rams. And I'm not counting out the Niners. I think the Niners can definitely make the playoffs. I just don't expect no Super Bowl championship, no deep playoff run. My expectations next year are just, for the love of God, just have a winning season. Your schedule is so bad, and if you don't have injuries and you don't have a winning season, Kyle, Jed, like if the Niners don't have a winning season next year, it's time to go. It's time to clean house.
I truly believe that it's up to the defensive run game and the defensive line, because to me, I think the offense will be better minus Debo and Juszczyk and install Pearsall, and I just do. And we'll see. We'll see if I'm right. I think the offense will be better next year, and so to me, it's up to the defensive line. It's
Kels,
like,
have we been watching the same team last year? Like, did you watch the game last year?
Kelsey's very optimistic. I applaud Kels for his optimism.
Because I'm not fooled by some of the games that it's like there's kind of like teasers and hey, we'll shelf them, and I see what's happening. I'm looking past the surface, man. I see Kyle's little trickery, 1 year ahead games, and getting people to hysteria and all these kind of things. It's like miss me, you know. If I fall for it once, shame on me, or however that saying goes. You know, if it happens twice, Kyle's been playing these little patterns of games, and I know that's just what I feel like is going to happen. But like I said, it comes down to penalties, the trenches, injuries. You know what I'm saying? So as long as we could say somewhat healthy, keep the penalties somewhat down. When you have a reinvigorated Robert Saleh, the defense, but it's the defensive run game. That's they have to find a way to get, you know, a couple of big daddies in there somehow, some way. And hey, none of us expected Pooney to do what he did. Could you imagine if we get that kind of production on the defensive line? Oh, dang, we finally got a rookie that panned out. Hey, that's not far away. That's one draft player of panning out at pick 11. That is very, very realistic of happening. And if that happens and you slide in another whoever else, you know, that's a big – if we stop the run, it's like, let me say this. If we have a really good defensive line, how much have the linebackers fallen off? How much have our cornerbacks are going to be better next year? Like, I believe that. I believe our secondary will probably be the best secondary we've had since, you know, however long it's been, you know, with Green in his year 2, Lenore, and I don't know. It's just I see how it's so easy to feel like on the surface, like, oh, dude, 8-8. Here comes 8-9. It's like I understand that. I'm not like, oh, I don't see. Early. It's not like I don't see how it can be 5-11. Of course, I know that could be realistic, but I also know the way the Niners are. A couple of games swing this way, a couple of games swing that way, and oh shit, you're 13-3. Like, damn, we didn't see this coming in 2019. You know, and it happened.
Who's in favor of the 49ers completing a heartwarming story that we've been hearing all over social media? The 49ers need to go out and sign Nick Bosa's brother, Joey Bosa, and let's add him to the defensive line. Who's in favor of that? Are you in favor of that? Amin the Dream, the Niners bringing in Joey Bosa.
It's not happening. I think the Niners. I'm just realistic. I'm hearing so much optimism on this stream that I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just.
Amin's head's about to explode. He's like, what is going on here?
Y'all, like, that's the thing. Y'all sound like me a couple of years ago. Like, y'all sound like me in 2019. I was like, we're gonna, or like in 2020. I'm like, we're gonna do it, guys. We're gonna run it back in the Super Bowl. You know,
I'm not confident. Honestly, I'm not. This might at least confident.
If only Jimmy G made that deep ball to Emmanuel Sanders next year, then maybe we can win it again. Like,
okay, buddy.
No, I think.
Why aren't you? Real quick. I mean, the Dream. Why aren't you in favor of a player that's past his prime?
Debo gave you that much confidence?
He hasn't played double-digit sacks in 2 of the last 3 seasons. He hasn't played in double-digit games in 2 of the last 3 seasons. His sack totals for the last 3 years: 2.5, 6.5, and 5. Why wouldn't you be in favor of signing someone to that?
I'm in favor. All I'm saying is that I already know there's going to be a team out there that's like the Miami Dolphins, for example. They're going to be like, Joey Bosa, let's give him $20 million for 2 years or 25 for 2 years. And I'm like, if I'm the Niners, I'm not signing Joey Bosa to no $25 million 2-year contract. Like, if we get Joey Bosa for like 2 for 15 or something cheap, yeah, sure, bring Joey Bosa, right? High risk, high reward. But if you're gonna go out and pay Joey Bosa $15 million a year or something like that, I'm good. Like, I'll pass on that.
What
Yeah, I
is
feel
your
like he's okay.
what is your guys' biggest worry on offense? Like, how would I say this? Because I'm looking at it like we're gonna have the same offensive line. So like, what's the biggest issue or worry like on the offense that's like making y'all like, ah man, can we even put
Honestly,
up
it's everything. It's everything. Who's Purdy gonna throw to? Who's gonna run the ball outside of CMC? How are we going to get better on the offensive line? It's kind of too early. We still have free agency. We still have draft. So it's kind of everything.
But like realistically, it's like just Debo and Juice, like, or Aaron Banks too. It's those three guys.
Debo,
but it's just,
Juice, Aaron Banks, Jalen Moore. The offensive line hasn't gotten better. It's gotten worse. You could argue,
for
right?
sure.
Yeah. And the receiving corp has gotten worse.
And I'm looking at it very thin. And I know I'm looking at it very thin, but I'm looking at it on the opposite side of like, hey, really, we're just minus Banks. We slide in Barch, draft a couple more guys. We're going to be good. We have rotational, we'll find
Kittle's
another
a year older.
Piece. Yeah, I feel it. I don't know. I just feel like there's being personally, I feel like the name Debo and some of these names are bigger than what they were giving us the past couple years. Collectively, if that makes sense. I feel like it's kind of like, oh my God, these guys are gone and we haven't done these things. But it's really like, let me see Ricky and Coween over Debo and Juice any day. Like, let me see it, a lot of it, then, but it's like, I'm not going to doubt them because I believe in them. Do I doubt Shanahan? Yes, I do. But I feel like he's kind of forced into it and he don't got a choice. That's just what I feel.
It'll be interesting to see the offense. How does Kyle Shanahan dial up the offense without Debo? That'll be interesting to see.
I can't wait.
But Ayuk not being here is a huge disadvantage for the 49ers. So how are they going to? I think if you don't get another veteran wide receiver,
they got to. They will.
They have to. You can't go in with Jennings, Cowling, Pearsall. You just can't. Like, it's just that'd be like the worst. Honestly, that's be like one of the worst receiving corps in the NFL. Let's be real. Like they have to get someone better. Kittle's a year older. The offensive line is worse. Trent Williams is older. We know he's not going to play every game. We know that. So that's why we should complete this feel-good story and sign Joey Bosa, man, because at least, right, the defensive line will be better, right? No?
Sebastian Joseph Day?
As a rotation defensive tackle, sure. Because, I think the Niners, didn't we re-sign Kevin Gibbons? I think we did that.
Yeah.
But Kels, you aren't in favor of a Joey Bosa? No? Brother Reilly?
Like, yes, if it is on that like minimum
1 year deal.
But it's like I don't want the buddy stuff. It's like we've seen that story before. We've seen we are all family, and hey, that's cool. Like, you are family, but it's also you can't get complacent. And I feel like there's been a lot of complacency, regardless of how much they say they work or how good they are, and that's just what it feels like. But yeah, I mean, I would want to get other pieces. I would want to look. Whatever we got to do, whoever we got to bring in, even if it is a Joseph Day, hey, he's pretty damn stout versus the run. It sounds funny, and I did use it as a joke, but he is pretty damn stout versus the run. Is that going to put us in Super Bowl? No, in a perfect world, give me Crosby, Graham in the draft. That's what I want. I want, like who in the draft looks like they could be a Hall of Famer. I don't care about need. It looks like that the tight end Warren could be a Hall of Famer, and it looks like, there's some of those guys in that draft. I don't care what position they play. The cornerback from Michigan, he kind of looks like a Surtain. Hey, imagine if we had a Surtain right now, we'd be pretty juiced up. We don't know how these guys are going to pan out, but they got to hit in the draft one way or another. We would want it to be in the trenches because if we get it's the trenches, mainly the defensive line, and it sucks because that's supposed to be the place where they've they should have that fully established. But you know, it is what it is. Got to get that D line. Like we got to stop the run and get after a quarterback, and we haven't been doing either effectively, consistently, or efficiently. So
yeah, no, well said. I agree. Looks like we have 18 people in the chat. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Got to say what's good to you.
yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. Hey, real quick, is there any other Niner stuff you wanted to hit on, or you want to talk about some big NFL signings? Let me know.
I got one
Anything else?
question for you. I got one question
Sure.
for you on Niners. Obviously, y'all saw the Sam Darnold 3-year, $100 million. You saw yesterday the Josh Allen $55 million per year annually. So now, based off those two contracts, one in our division, one who people like to compare Brock Purdy to a lot in Sam Darnold, and then the other who is a franchise quarterback, who's not just a franchise quarterback, but he's an elite quarterback, getting paid $55 million per year. How much do you think is the right amount to pay Brock Purdy, and what would you guys consider as like an overpay, and like you wouldn't go to that number to pay Brock Purdy?
Just a lifetime contract at Kohl's, and I'm just kidding. Hey, man, you do your thing, Brock. Nothing but love. But I don't know. It feels like, I don't know. I have no idea. Just to be cute, I want to say 49 million. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I could see it just being a straight at 50 years, or we'll see.
Hey, great question. Great question. I mean, I think Brock will probably get anywhere between 50 and 55 mil per year. If Trevor Lawrence gets 55 million per year, Tua got 53 per year, Goff got 53 per year, Justin Herbert got 52. I think Brock's going to be, in between those guys. I don't see how you can say he shouldn't be. Sometimes it's about when you hit the market, and this is when Brock's hitting the market. And I think he's deserving of that based on what the other guys get. I don't see how the Niners can say, no, we're going to offer you 45 or 40. That he's not going to take that. Like, there's no way. There's no way you can tell me Trevor Lawrence deserves more money than Brock Purdy. It's like, come on.
What? You know what's messed up about it? It feels like they played a lot of, how do I say? It feels like they've played the hardball, or they're trying to play now. They really, really want to play hardball or something, or unless that's what it seems for clicks or whatever. But
I think it's just a negotiation.
They could, yeah, but it feels like the guys that they really struggled with, it's like they ain't even here now. It's just kind of, I don't know. It's just funny business. I don't know. It feels like there's a lot of experimenting, and I get it. Hey, but it's like year 7, year 8, and that, like, you should be well established with an identity, philosophy, and a direction. You and Lynch should be fully. It's like Shanahan always talks about these things like so universally, like there's just no true foundation. Do
you guys think that Purdy getting between 50 and 55 per year is too much? Or do you think that's unreasonable at this point?
Hey, if that's their guy, it's like, you got to pay him. Like, that's he saved their jobs. And I know it's
kind of like into him. They lucked into him.
You can't pay him on the past stuff and this and that. But it's like, hey, if you want to get like really real about it, I mean, we could talk about Trey Lance, and we could talk about all the trench pieces you missed, and we could talk about a lot of stuff to where it's like that dude literally, like, I mean, the last pick and come in and do that. And you could talk about your scheme and all the other pieces and all that stuff. But I mean, you got to give him his credit. He's done his he didn't just put up have one of the greatest starts in NFL history on accident because of a scheme. Like, I mean, besides Mahomes, and folks, just because he does have a weaker arm, really will be like, oh my God, Josh Allen is up here and Purdy is, I mean, not even sniffing. It's like, yeah, Josh is a monster dude. He better have a rocket arm. I mean, Purdy is a smaller dude. He better have some quick ass feet. Hey, they're different breeds. Of course, Josh Allen is better. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or It's
What
kind
say
of
you? What say you, Amin?
it's like defined better though, but it's like, yeah, he should definitely get paid. They should not play games with it, and it's like, get it done and over with. Like enough with the drama and clickbait.
The Niners should play games with it.
Oh, shit. Play games.
So
Hey,
what?
just let him go. Cut him in.
So what's
Hey, one way
what's
or
the
another.
what's
Just cut him.
the annual year average you won't go past to pay Purdy? So what's the absolute say? No, we're walking away from the table.
See, because at the end of the day, I know the Niners are going to pay Brock Purdy.
No, that's not what I asked you. I said, what? If you're John Lynch, where do you walk away?
John Lynch?
Yeah.
If I'm John Lynch, I'll walk away at like 45, dude. If I'm John Lynch, and that's even if I'm paying Brock Purdy. Otherwise, I'm good, bro. I'm good.
Okay,
what's the plan? What's the plan?
Yeah, exactly. That? What's the plan? You walk away from Purdy at 45. You say, "Nah,
it's not that I walk away from Brock Purdy. It's that Brock's still under contract this year. And if I'm looking, just realistic. The thing, hold on. Stay with me for a second. Stay with me for a second. Right? Stay with me for a second before y'all jump ship.
Let him cook. Let him cook.
Do we not see what happened with Jimmy Garoppolo? Jimmy Garoppolo came to this team. And by no means am I saying Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy on the same level as quarterbacks. Brock Purdy already is a much better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo. But Jimmy Garoppolo comes in, has 6 good games, Jay. Has 6 good games. He gets hurt the next year. And what was everybody saying? All the media was like, y'all signed him to a bag after 6 games. And the Niners like, let's do it.
Purdy's got 40 games. Come on, man. Purdy's got 40 games.
But Jay, let's think about this for a second. Mm-hmm. Brock, when the Super Bowl, when he made it to the Super Bowl, he had Debo, he had Ayuk, he had a healthy Christian McCaffrey. The same effect that Saquon had on the Philadelphia Eagles, Christian McCaffrey had on the Niners that year, right? Everything was going right for the Niners that season. Everything. Debo had a big bounce back year. Nick Bosa was a defensive player of the year that year. Like, everything went right for the Niners that year. What did Brock Purdy do with much lesser talent last year? I'm not saying that I blame Brock for all the struggles last year, but Brock didn't put up MVP numbers. He wasn't all that last year. So what my point is that I'm not opposed to paying Brock. All I'm saying is that if I'm looking at the way that you handle the Jimmy Garoppolo situation, with the way that you even look at last year, with what Brock did with less talent, and this year isn't going to be much better for Brock. You lost much more talent this year. So my point is, yo, Brock, I'll give you one more year. Go show me what you can do in this 1 year. And if you go out and ball, like, yeah, I'll give you the contract. But why are we rushing it? And here you go, Brock.
That doesn't happen in today's NFL. It just that doesn't happen.
But Jay, if that doesn't happen, then go let Brock walk and see what team signed him to a $55 million contract. Let another team be a fool and let them go do that.
Hey, unless the 49ers...
Well, he'd have to get cut. He'd have to get cut to do that.
Unless they're just being really quiet about... Hey, I was playing around a lot toward the end of last year. Like, hey, you might as well tank and just go get Arch Manning. Unless they really got their sights on... there's going to be a superstar quarterback. It always comes around once every couple of years. Y'all know it, and someone's going to get him, man. It sounds like a joke, but hey, man, I think Arch Manning could be the real deal. We'll find out. But if the 49ers, you never know how ambiguous they might be looking right now. Have they ever fully did a rebuild? This could be where it might even get less than what we have even now. We'll see.
I think if the Niners said we're only giving you 45, take it or leave it, and Brock says, okay, well, I'm holding out and I'm not playing a single down until I get what I want, then I think the Niners would have to rebuild at that point. Or maybe you sign Jameis Winston, or maybe you sign another quarterback that way. But I think you give the man what he wants. He's put in 40 games. He's had last season was bad. The rest of the 2 seasons, he was pretty good. The talent will be diminished, but you got to surround him with talent. That's why Lynch gets paid the big bucks. Surround the man with talent.
Rebuilding with what talent, Jay? If you're rebuilding, and that's the thing about this whole rebuild thing, is that if the Niners are really serious about rebuilding, and I've already made my stance on this, but if you're really serious about rebuilding, you've given Sean and Kyle 8 years. They've had 2 shots to the Super Bowl. They've messed up. They haven't hit twice, right? And you look at, I'm not saying that this works out for every team, but the Bulls had Doug Collins, and this is really there might be a stupid analogy, but the Bulls had Doug Collins, They fell short. What do they end up doing? They're like, you know what? We need to make a change. We have a good enough roster. Let's go out and get Phil Jackson. Let's go take a risk. Let's go and, take a risk on Phil Jackson. And they ended up having a dynasty and won 6 championships. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen with the Niners, but all I'm saying is that if you're really full rebuild mode, instead of rebuilding with the same coaches and the same general manager who couldn't solve the same test twice and screwed up on the same exact test in the Super Bowl against the same exact team with, I would say, better players the second time around with Christian McCaffrey, and failed both times against the same exact team in the same exact manner. If you're really serious about rebuilding, get rid of John. I wouldn't say get rid of John. I think John is fine, but get rid of Kyle and start all over and have a full rebuild if you're really serious about rebuilding. But if you're keeping the same coach and John Lynch and keeping Kyle Shanahan and having Robert Saleh, who couldn't get it done in 2019, and by no means am I saying that this team isn't going to get better, but running it back with the same exact guys and rebuilding with the same exact guys when they couldn't get it done the first time, I don't know what makes you think they're going to get it done the second time around.
No, the 49ers defense, they needed that raw coach on the sideline.
I agree.
They didn't need somebody in the booth. They needed someone on the sideline, because if Robert Saleh was here last year, the defense would have been significantly better. I don't see how you can say that, but
I'm not saying that it's not going to get better. I agree with you, Jay. I think it will get better. But my point is that if we're talking about rebuild, which everybody's talking about, the Niners are rebuilding this year, which I think they are. But if you're going to do a rebuild, do a proper rebuild by cleaning house and running it back with a new regime and a new scheme with new coaches, instead of running it back with the same guys that didn't get it done the first time twice when they had 2 opportunities that didn't get it done the first time. That's all.
I think it's pretty clear that Kyle likes familiarity with coaches. They brought back Saleh. They brought on a new special teams coordinator, which was good. So Kyle was like, okay, that special teams isn't good enough. Let's bring in another coordinator. They did that. So they upgraded the special teams coordinator. They upgraded defensive coordinator. Now, which players are going to come in and upgrade the team? That's what we haven't seen yet. So we'll see what they do in the draft. We'll see what they do in free agency. Joe brings up a great point. Not once did you guys mention how bad the O-line was. Is Brock responsible for that? No, not at all. He's not responsible for that. And the O-line has gotten worse, unfortunately.
But that's not going to change this year, Jay. That's not going to change this year.
And
well, we don't know, honestly.
Kyle was obviously kind of giving up on stuff or being predictable. I mean, there was everything went against us, and it's not even for excuses. It's just the truth. It's just, I mean, everybody had their hand in being shit. Brock, Kyle, O-line, drama, unfortunate situations. It was just a shitty year all the way around. But we've also seen Kyle, the same guy that I do not like at all, fully, have a losing season and come back the next year 13-3. I think we've seen it maybe twice, so it's just, so it's really not crazy to think it could happen. It seems like the pattern.
One benefit is we're going to have a weak schedule due to us being trash last year. So that's a plus.
A very weak.
That's a plus, but we'll see.
Who is there for receivers out there? I'm trying to look. I do see Keenan Allen's name, and just Allen. Hey, I've always loved Keenan Allen, by the way, even though because y'all never heard me talk about, but I had him. I think I even had him on fantasy. I was hoping he, Dan Williams, but man, who was there? Stephon Diggs is still out there. I really ain't.
He's coming off a torn ACL.
Yeah. River Craycraft. Kels, what about River Craycraft?
Oh, boy, he don't want to come out this way. You stay all the way over there, River.
Real quick on Brock. Sometimes it's not okay. Obviously, it does depend on how good you are, but sometimes it's Cooper. When you hit the market. And what other quarterbacks have been paid that are on your level, right? When Brock is, I think some would say Brock is top 10. Some would say Brock is mid. If we're talking about Brock is mid, he's going to get paid like other mid quarterbacks. Dak, Trevor Lawrence, Tua. I think Jared Goff is slightly above mid. Okay, but there's no way the Niners can tell Brock and his agent, you can't get paid like Tua. Like and Brock is coming after them. So there's no way he's gonna accept less. I just don't get
Jay,
it.
which team? But let's be realistic, Jay. Which team? I'm just like, name me a team that if the Niners release Brock Purdy tomorrow would sign Brock Purdy for a $50 million.
Let's see. I think the Raiders. I think they would sign.
Raiders,
well, they got
the Raiders
Geno.
got
Okay,
Geno.
the Raiders got Geno. So that's a great question. I would say if we were talking about 48 hours ago, I think the Raiders would have signed Brock Purdy. And I'm sure several other teams. I'm trying to think right now. Let's see.
Right now,
the Giants. Would the Giants sign Purdy?
Giants want Rodgers. They're leaning in on Rodgers.
I think if Brock Purdy was available, the Giants would go after Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I think
after Rodgers. The Titans, the Giants,
Twitter.
the Jets.
I think I don't know, man. I think a lot of I don't know. The football world is tricky, man. You know, so many people, it just depends. It depends on how much they value Kyle or how much they watch tape or how much they really because I mean, it's not like, you know, Brock is, you know, just throwing check down. I mean, you know, the man's got talent. Of course, he don't got the he don't got the arm strength, but I mean, that boy, I mean, he could throw the deep ball. He could I mean, there's nothing that Brock, like, I don't know, man. I'm not off.
Steelers would be interested in Brock.
Steelers are interested in Rodgers. I think they're the favorite, and if they don't get Rodgers,
I don't get it. What do you see in Rodgers?
I don't see nothing in Rodgers. I think Rodgers is trash.
His morale is trash. He doesn't want to practice. He's not the same guy. Like I don't get what but I think that tells you how there's basically no talent right now at the quarterback position. There's 10, 12 guys, and then everyone else is just looking for someone. Like,
I mean, we're discounting Shador, Cam Ward, who are going to get drafted.
So there's two guys maybe in the first round, maybe three. Jackson Dart, maybe.
Jackson Dart.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I just think you believe in Purdy. You're going to have to pay him. You're going to have to overpay a little bit. But in 2 years, it's like, oh, will he even still be a top 10 paid quarterback in 2 years where other guys are going to come up behind him? I just think that's the price of doing business in the NFL. You believe in your quarterback. He's had successes. He's been to the Super Bowl. Like, yeah, you're going to have to pay him top 10. Like, it's not even a question.
Yeah, it's like when I seen Garoppolo, I don't know. It was easy to see through. It was easy to see the box he was stuck in. You know what I'm saying? And Purdy ain't stuck in that box, man. It's like, I believe Purdy can win the Super Bowl. I never believed Garoppolo could. Yeah, and for him to get that close was remarkable. And, you know, that's just how I feel. It's like, of course, Brock. Like, of course, man. I ain't trying to lowball the one that just like, who is probably the leader of the 49ers right now, you know, outside of Warner. I mean, some people get on Brock Purdy's case about hooking his whole offensive lineman up with trucks or whatever, a whole sponsor, whatever. He didn't have to do that, man. That's a boss. In my opinion, some people look at it, Peyton Manning, whoever else, you don't do da-da-da-da-da. If they man, they're going to battle. They're going to war every day. If that's what's on, that's a leader, in my opinion. That's what you do. You do those kind of things. You own it. I mean, he's a rookie. He hasn't even made his way yet. Boy was a rookie telling Kittle, man, hey, shut up and pay attention, dude. You know, and the room got quiet, and everybody said, oh, shit. Like this dude really is the real deal. Like, okay, the little engine that could. Like, hey, he proved it. He did it. He's a boss. What more could you want? Like what?
Kels, how much is Brock's agent paying you to say this stuff?
what more do you want? But what more do you want? Okay, well, of course we want the 6'4", the 215. I mean, freaking Joe Milton type of arm. And I'm surprised. Hey, I was watching some Joe Milton. Man, hey, someone's gonna get lucky if he gets, you know, someone's gonna get lucky with him at some point in time. But it's like what more do you want? It's like, what more do you want from
what else does he have to prove other than winning a Super Bowl?
Like I mean, who didn't have a down year? I mean, if we're talking about that, Bosa might as well like get gone. He's had a couple of down years. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like you know, it's not like, you know, just because people say, hey, you know, 2-to-1 touchdown interception. I told you he's gonna be throwing picks like crazy, like bullshit. Like, nah, he's gonna keep working. We'll see. We'll see if he keeps on throwing interceptions like that. We'll see if he gets efficient and gets right back to 35 touchdowns and 10 picks. And it feels like I think the little hysteria, the frustration with just a lot of it. Hey, you get close to 2 Super Bowls, you don't come through. Everything, there's no real stability. It's back and forth. It's up and down. It's a lot of transition right now. So it feels like, the ship is sinking, but it really ain't. And we'll see. We'll see. It'll be an interesting next 2-3 months. One. Yeah, for sure. It's interesting to see what we'll do in the draft. In addition to the players we lost, I believe we got 4 more compensatory picks plus the 5th rounder from Debo. So Lynch is going to have to knock this draft out, after y'all. He's going to have to hit a grand slam on this. We're going to have to draft day 1 starters because we don't have the cap space to pay guys. Nah, it's all going to Purdy. I like what McNiner said, man. The weapons are there, but I mean, Garindo, will he be actually utilized? Can Shanahan use 2 running backs? I mean, he did it in the ATL. I mean, can you do it here, Shanahan? You don't run CMC into the ground. It's like the same thing over and over. So we'll see, man. I don't think the weapons we have now are enough, though. I think it's okay. This isn't a Super Bowl winning offensive skill guys to me. I don't see that. I think those are guys that are good, but we got to get exceptionally better. And on defense too. So how cheap is Cooper? Like, because I'm almost
Amari Cooper. That's it. I mean, he didn't look good in Buffalo after they traded for him, but he is a veteran receiver. I mean, he probably can't fetch much, right? I mean, I think more than $10 million per year. I mean, on a 1-year deal, I'd be okay with that with Amari Cooper. We got to get someone else in there.
I would go with the fastest. Whoever's the biggest and fastest in a vet, just no drama, biggest, fastest.
Yeah. But
that's a criteria I'm looking for, just like a kind of Jawan Jennings, but with some more speed and,
But it's only day 1. I mean, there's plenty of players available. But I don't think it's going to be a big splash. Hopefully, if you get a veteran receiver who's been productive in the past, I think that's what you really need. The defensive line, you're definitely going to have to get defensive tackles, edge rushers. Like, it'll be interesting to see what they do. Yeah. You guys have anything else on the Niners you wanted to hit?
Can we talk about the Lakers, though? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow. Hey, you guys got Luka. Hey, that's hell of a trade, man. But LeBron is hurt, right?
Luka's going to be on the Cerveza in the playoffs. So I mean, the stats are cool. He does his little slow motion fadeaways and stuff. But playoff time, he's going to be on the Cerveza. I think last year in Dallas or whatever, what he had the GM come and take the beer out of his hand or whatever. Like, like really. I know, trying to keep him. There's nobody in LA that's going to save him. So it's going to be a 1st round exit, my guy.
If we just strictly talking based off that, like, what Nico Harrison traded MJ because MJ has like 2 beers after the game and a cigar in his mouth. Like, what we talking about here? Like,
that's MJ, bro. That's.
I mean, I'm not saying MJ Luka the same thing, but like young MJ coming into the league, what you traded MJ with a cigar in his mouth and a couple of beers.
It's gonna be night, bro. It's gonna be all the way night. Night's coming. Night's coming.
As much as I crap on the Warriors, and I still think who's y'all GM, Mike Dunleavy. I think Mike Dunleavy is a trash GM. I'll say that right now. I don't think he's all that, but he surprised me with the Jimmy Butler move because I thought y'all were gonna get worse because of that. And 11-1 with Jimmy, so gotta give props where props are due.
It's gonna be night. I'm sorry, but it's coming. It's coming. Hey, to be honest, I hope they both make it to the championship, Western Conference. And it seems like it's lined up for it. I mean, LeBron ain't getting younger. Curry ain't getting younger. They both went out and got, you know what I'm saying? And they're both on win streaks, right? It's heading That would be as a fan the ultimate. The Lakers and Warriors, hell yeah. LeBron, once again, LeBron and Curry, to kind of see who could get it done. What are they versus each other? What is it, 4-3 or something like that? Or no, it's like 2 and I don't know. It could be even.
I'll tell y'all this much. Even though I'm not a Warriors fan, if I'm like OKC in the first round or second round and I see Golden State, y'all might want to watch out for the Warriors, man. Like I'll put it like that.
Yeah, boy, that's right. Hey, but the same thing with the Lakers. I ain't gonna lie, I haven't watched the Lakers too much, but I know they're winning over and over. I don't know. With the all they lost was AD, right?
Yup, AD, Christie in the first.
Okay, so I mean, I don't know who their other big men is, but right now it feels like it don't even matter who's big. So. Yeah, we'll see.
Well, it's I appreciate everyone tuning in to the stream right now. Everyone that was in the chat, appreciate you coming through.
Hey Jay, real quick, Jay.
Folks in here, yeah.
How many times? Listen, chat. Like, I don't know how many times I got to humble Jay and Madden. Like I've been cooking him over and over and over.
Where's the mute button? Hell no. Hell to the no.
OMG.
I don't know how many times I got to humble Jay.
I mean, the Dream does not know when to quit. I think the last time we played, I think you quit 3 times. So
damn, we really gotta leak that public information out on the internet, Jay. I mean, really.
Yeah, you walked right into it. You walked right into
it. I was gonna mention it.
You set yourself up.
That's true.
And I was playing with the New Orleans Saints too. So the next time we play, you can pick my team for me.
Man.
Derek Carr was dropping Hail Marys on you.
Shaheed, man. That guy is fast as hell.
Oh boy.
But yeah, the next time we play, you can pick my team. And hey, we can get it in again. It's all good. But hey, I'm sure we'll have another show sometime this off season. Hopefully Bay Area Baller can come through and join us. It was a last minute show. So we all have families and things. So but I appreciate you gentlemen joining me on the stream. Appreciate everyone who tuned in to who was watching the stream, writing comments. We appreciate that. Any closing thoughts from you gentlemen, and then we'll close it out. No?
Yeah. Go ahead, Kelt.
Yeah, I was waiting for much love to everybody. We see y'all all in here. Much love, real talk. Yeah, man, it's just the beginning of the new year, I guess. It feels like the beginning, right? Once free agency happens. So, I mean,
we got a long way to go. It's a marathon, man.
I'm not fooled at all. Of course, I know it could be a 5 and whatever, but it just feels like it's not as far away as it just doesn't. I don't know. For me, it just really doesn't, because I know. Like we have to get other. Well, this isn't it. This isn't our final roster. Like we're going to feel like, you know what I'm saying? Once it's a finished product. So I understand how it could feel like that right now, but it's just like, hey, I'm in optimistic season, and it's not even just about that. Like I have no reason to really, personally, I have more reason to be like hyped up, like because a lot of the stuff besides Jake Moody, we haven't even, why is he still on the damn team since we're, but besides Jake Moody, you know what I'm saying? It's like we did everything I kind of wanted, all right, then Juice, all right, then Debo, Banks was, I guess that wasn't surprising either, but yeah, man. So I'm chilling. Much love to everybody, man. It was good to talk to y'all again, real talk. And
absolutely.
We'll be back at it. The draft will be around the corner, so that's when things really get exciting. And we'll see.
Absolutely. You want to close us out of Mean the Dream? Only way you know how, man.
Bang, bang, Niner gang.
Yay!
Peace.